Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 247 DIY. Got a little bit more work to do here with the Craftsman Snowblower project that I started a while ago. Nothing major, just a couple of maintenance items that I really wasn't even going to film at first, but you guys seem to really enjoy the content that I've put out previously with this, so I figured I'd go ahead and film it. The first item is I broke the manual lift cable that you use to lift the snowblower unit up and down. So I was able to jump on Amazon and get a new assembly. So we're going to go ahead and get that switched out. And then I've been putting up with the fact that this thing doesn't really want to stop very well for honestly probably a couple years now. So I got a new set of brake pucks to go in. Honestly, they probably just need to be adjusted because you can adjust the bite of the brake pucks, but I didn't want to get under there and then find out that I needed new brake pucks anyway, and these are super cheap. So we're going to be going ahead and putting in a new set of those brake pucks. So let's go ahead and get to work. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start up here on the handle. When you look up the replacement part number, not only do you get the new cable and everything, but it also just comes with the new handle assembly. So we have to replace the whole handle assembly here, and then that's as easy as just a Phillips head screw here on top. So we'll undo that first, and then we will go and disconnect it down on the snowblower unit itself. And then that cable runs down the metal lift handle all the way down here to a connection right here. Like I said, my cable already snapped, so we can go ahead and get this little piece out of here right now. The connection's really basic. It's just that little Z shape there that goes inside the little hole here on the lifting pin. And then we have to disconnect this part of the cable right here. It's a jam nut type setup. You have one nut on top, one nut on the bottom. I'm sure these are a standard size, but a 13 millimeter wrench is going to do it. And lately I've had a real bad habit of not putting tools away when I'm done with them, and I can't find my other 13 millimeter wrench. And I don't feel like going up in the house right now to get my standard set of wrenches, so I'm just going to hope that this pair of pliers will hold the bottom nut enough so that I can get this project done. With that loosened up, you can slide it out of that bracket. And then along the metal handle here for the lift, there's two zip ties that you'll have to cut. The upper one about halfway up the handle, I was just going to slip this through so I didn't have to cut these zip ties. I have plenty, I was just trying to be lazy, but this one's not going to slide through here. So we'll have to cut the zip ties to replace the whole cable. All right, so what I've gone ahead and done off camera is I just compared the end of the new one to the end of the old one. Because you can see how much threading there is on here. You can adjust the point at which this cable will go into the bracket down there, and then that's going to determine your throw when you squeeze the handle of how much the pin mechanism slides up or down. So for right now, I'm just going to go with it set up as close to the other one as I could kind of eyeball. And then once it's installed, if for some reason that's not correct, we can go ahead and adjust the height of where this engages into the bracket. We're going to go with this for right now. There we go, so that's working good. Didn't need to do any extra adjustment on that. It works fine, just like I installed it. So now we can go ahead and move on to getting those new brake pucks in. All right, and as far as replacing those brake shoes, I realize you can get to it without taking the wheel off, but just for making things easier, especially for the purpose of filming, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this wheel off. And the reason I say if is because I've never had this wheel off, so we'll give it a shot. If it doesn't want to come off, then we'll just have to do it the hard way with some tough camera angles, but we'll get it done. And if you're wondering, I do read your guys' comments, and previously when I was working on the front wheels, somebody commented and said to use heat on these rubber caps and they'll come off super easy. So that's what we're gonna do. Unfortunately, I left my heat gun up in the house and I really don't feel like going to get it. So I've got a torch here. So we're gonna warm it up with the torch. Hope I don't melt it, and we'll go from there. That does actually work way better for getting those off. So I'll definitely be using that heat method in the future. Let's get our clips off of here and see if this wheel wants to come off or not. All right, so now we need to go ahead and get this assembly off. This is your brake rod here, whatever you want to call it. When you step on the brake pedal, it pushes this brake rod back, and then behind here, you can see your little, basically it's like a miniature like brake rotor essentially right there, and your pad is inside behind there. When you push this back, it squeezes that brake pad or that brake puck into that bit of metal there. So we need to get this off. It's these two bolts right here. Again, they are going to be a standard size 13 millimeters fits on there, so that's what I'm going to be using. All right, when that comes off, this was facing that way. You have this little recessed portion here. Your outer brake puck is going to be sitting right inside there, and if you can kind of see the lip on that, this thing's pretty much toast. You'll see some people, they'll just flip them around, but since we have the new ones, we will throw a new one in there. And then behind that, you've got what I believe is supposed to be one metal shim. This just looks like it broke, and so we'll just place that back in there on top of those two little pins when we get to that point. But now we need to take the little metal brake disc, if you want to call it that, off of there. And then if your little keyway is facing down, actually I'm not sure if this one comes out like the axle does. Yeah, it does. I can feel it moving. So if your keyway is facing down, you just want to make sure that little keyway stays in there and doesn't fall out. But then our inner brake puck is right here. That one's not nearly as bad as the outer one was, but we've got a new set, so we'll replace them both. So we'll take our inside puck and just place it right in the recess there. And then, because this was actually pretty rusty, there was a good amount of rust on there when it came off, I'm just going to throw a little anti-seize there on that keyway and around the shaft there, just for the future, if I ever have to go ahead and replace this again. Something tells me, I mean, I got this thing secondhand, so I don't know. The previous owner may have replaced these. I highly doubt they did. And this has a manufacture date of 2002 on it. So if this thing went that long on this original set of pucks here, I doubt I'll ever have to do this again. But should I have to, this will make my life easier the next time. And I believe almost in the same exact way that like a brake caliper works, those pins are meant to come in and out. But because I really haven't had any brakes on these for years, they appear to be kind of frozen in place. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can't get those loosened up so that this will actually tighten on there properly. All right, so I spent some time over on the bench. One of these pins came out no problem. It knocked out just in a couple taps. One was actually seized in there pretty good. I had to spend quite a bit of time cleaning the pin itself up with some Scotch-Brite and then cleaning up the inside race of the hole there. But they're both free now, so you can see they just press right down in there. And we can go ahead and get this assembly reinstalled. So we'll get that metal shim back in there. Toss our new puck in there. And then when you go ahead and tighten down this center nut, you'll notice it's like one of those nylon lock nuts. I probably should replace it just because you don't want to tighten this all the way down, and that's why they use one of those nylon locking nuts so it stays in place. You just want to make sure that you've got some wiggle in this bracket, and then if you find that things are a little bit too tight and it's dragging, you can back it off. You can also adjust things up here as far as the actuator here for your pedal travel, depending on how much pedal you want or how much travel you want before the brake will actually start to press and engage. But basically when this bracket gets pushed backwards, it forces those pins in there. And if you have it too tight, it's just going to be pressing all the time. So I tightened it up, and it was where it was kind of previously, and that was way too tight. So I backed it off now. I've got some wiggle in there. I believe this should be plenty good, but if I need to, I can come back and just tighten that one nut down a little bit, and then that will give me more brake engagement when I step on the brakes. But I think this is a good spot right here, and like I said, super easy to get in here and tighten this down if I have to in the future. So let's go ahead and get this wheel back on so we can get everything finished up here. All right, so just gave it a little test there, and it seems like the brakes are working real good. I don't think they're going to need any adjustment, so I'm happy with that. And so that's all the work that I've got for this video, guys. Feels good now knowing that I've got properly working brakes, and we've got that cable replaced, so now I can go ahead and lift the snowblower unit up and down properly again. But as always, guys, if you like the video, be sure to hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment below, and if you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Thanks.